What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 78 of Against the Blitz. And we are recapping this week 13 NFL slate. And first off, I want to say I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope everyone enjoyed their time with their families, ate some good food. I'm not a big Thanksgiving food guy. I feel like it's very overrated. Like, I like the dinner rolls. Those are probably my favorite part, which pretty much speaks to how I feel about the whole meal. But Austin, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you enjoy yourself?
It was great because a lot of my family are ham over turkey people. I myself am a huge ham guy, so I was eating great. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, I think turkey's like an F tier meat. Like,
I think that's the whole point. Like, wasn't it like how it was like a very shareable meat? It was very cheap and like easy to find, and
yeah,
like it's not like a luxury. It's like a layman's meat.
Interesting.
But like it's not good. It's never been good.
No.
It takes like a rocket science to get it slightly tender.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. Let's just
Yeah,
move to ham.
I agree. I'm full ham. Like, when I get to a point where I'm hosting Thanksgiving, I might just do something completely different. I might just find a pizza. Like
we've done that. We've done Chick-fil-A. Yeah. We've done that kind of shit before. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm over the fucking. I don't even like mashed potatoes, which is half the problem.
Oh,
that's a problem. I don't like mashed potatoes. I don't like cranberries.
Well, yeah,
I don't like a lot of pies. Like, some people make their stuffings funny. Like, I'm picky about stuffing, although good stuffing is very delicious. But I don't know. It's just maybe
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just make it like a pizza and wings holiday and just call it a day.
I'm cool with that. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, me too. Well, we'll get into week 13. I know that there was one particular individual that was not very thankful for their Thanksgiving holiday and how that went all went down, and that would be Jared Goff. Jared Goff did not have the best time against the Packers on Thursday. Just really kind of got derailed early when Amon-Ra got hurt. I think it took them a few drives to kind of reestablish themselves, it felt like. But once they did, one of my biggest takeaways was, why is Jameson Williams kind of having a down season? Why are we not trying to operate this offense around him even more, similarly to how they did in that game? Because I think at the end of the day, he probably would be their most effective weapon if he was the centerpiece of it, more than Amon-Ra in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I guess that can speak to it is like it's just kind of hard when you don't have like the build for volume. Like guys like Devontae Smith, like guys that have like a skinnier body, they can have these games. But just eating volume, like you look at the kind of guys that do that, they're a little bit bigger. Like Amon-Ra's a thicker guy, Jamar's a thicker guy. A lot like Puka, like these guys that get volume can kind of handle like the hits that you take when you get volume. That's the only reason I can think why they don't really fully trust him with that. It's just like he doesn't have the size for it. Other than that, like I think that he has everything it takes to be. I mean, he was a high-end first-round pick, even while he was hurt. Like they really trusted him that he would be a really good receiver. And I think he's been underwhelming per those expectations. But every single time they really force feed him the ball, it goes really well.
Yeah, it does. And he really was their only bright spot in this game, because a lot of the time when they dropped back, I felt like the interior pressure was so overwhelming, and they tried to remediate that prior to the game with Frank Ragnow supposedly unretiring. But then we all came to find out that he had a grade 3 hamstring strain, which, as far as I know, literally means it's like snapped. Like, I don't know how he didn't know that.
Straight mashed potatoes for a hamstring down there. Like, it's like he would have tried to take off on one pull and fell just straight to the ground.
He has to feel it walking. Like, how did he not realize he probably wasn't fit to play NFL football off the couch?
He saw that Tate Ratledge pass pro and just he felt like he had to do something about it.
He couldn't watch it anymore.
No.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, when your freaking second leading receiver is Tom Kennedy, you do get excuses. When you have obviously people lose receivers. It's one thing, but it's very rare that a team uses a receiver as much as they use Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not even just as a receiver, but the blocking. They funnel everything completely centralized through that guy. So when he goes down, it's going to be a weirder product. And they still were better than I thought. Just the run game couldn't get going. Both of their running backs were at 4 yards a carry or less. It just wasn't their game. The Packers had everything going their way. Dontavian Wicks had his annual Thanksgiving performance. It's the only time of year he shows up, but God, he looks freaking incredible when he does. Jordan Love had a good game. Micah Parsons was in on 3 sacks. It was just an insane performance that I'm actually kind of shocked the Lions kept it as close as they did, because 31-24 is pretty respectable of a loss, but with how that game started, I thought it'd be much worse.
Absolutely. I think, I wasn't meaning with my intro comment that Goff didn't play well or that he didn't. And, I more so meant he just kind of did the best he could. And he probably was quite frustrated with the result, because I thought Goff played pretty damn good football considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
Not to go back to the Lions, but before I get to the Packers, my final thought was this was one of those games where maybe the draft pick you moved 3 assets for in Isaac Tesla would have been more prevalent and more, impactful. And he was kind of non-existent. He had 2 catches for 35 yards. He did score, but that was more so just on a complete malfunction on the Packers secondary than it was just a good play. So, yeah. I mean, I think when Tom Kennedy is stepping up as your second best receiver after you trade up massively for a guy that you apparently had all this belief in, and he's just nowhere to be found, that was a little concerning to me, because we all believe Brad Holmes is a very good general manager, but this was probably his first, I'm not going to say miss, but the questions were
for sure, but
the questions are justified about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this happened to you, I know, and it happened to a lot of people. This was the first annual, is that Anthony Ferkser kind of game? Because once you get into the weeds of is that Anthony Ferkser out there, that's when you know this team is depleted. They don't have Laporta, and I know the Packers didn't have Tucker Kraft either. Not to say that, but to be missing Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 of your main volume eaters at the receiver position, you're going to struggle. And Goff didn't even really struggle that bad. I mean, he went 20 of 26, 256, 2 touchdowns, no picks, only took 3 sacks, all the pressure considered. I think he actually played well. And I think just everything around him, the defense, Terry and Arnold, everything was just not great besides him and Jamison Williams.
Yeah. Well, back to your point about Dontavian Wicks, he picked the right game to catch everything thrown at him, because he made big catch after big catch. And we're not even just talking about winning a rep. We're talking about jumping over people and holding on to the ball through contact, which is not really his game. Honestly, the weakest part of his game is probably his ability to catch the football. And the fact that he was able to make some of the plays he did was ridiculously impressive. And I was sitting there I get Matthew Golden's hurt, but I don't think Matthew Golden's doing these things. And I keep hearing, or at least I did hear when I questioned why the Packers drafted Golden a few weeks ago, I made a video about it. And one of the big reasons was because they're going to let guys walk this offseason, or players are going to be signing elsewhere. It's the more I think about it, the names that would have to depart for him to kind of really step up, I can't imagine them not bringing them back. I don't know where Christian Watson's contract situation is off the top of my head, but he's the engine to that offense, if we're being honest. And, Dontavian Wicks comes out of nowhere every once in a while. He's truthfully your best separator. And I think Romeo Doubs is still Jordan Love's probably top receiver on most days. So where does he fit in? I don't know. And I haven't felt like he's made an impact that makes me think that it would be worth moving on from those guys. Plus Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed, who is still hurt, but is also a player.
and he's his own thing. Like he has his own gadget type thing. Wicks and Dobbs are like the two where you're like, I would even put Gold into that, where I think that they can play on every down, short, long, intermediate. Like they don't have a designed role. So I really like those three to be on the field, but Christian Watson is developing into a much more well-rounded receiver on top of still being a pretty good deep threat like that he's kind of always been. So like, yeah, you have four guys that it's really hard not to put on your field. And then you have Jaden Reed who can house any end around for a touchdown. And it's just a deep, sticky room where they're going to have to make some kind of decision at some point on who to get rid of. But it can't be Golden. I mean, they put their only first round pick of a receiver on that guy. It'd be pretty disheartening for him to ride the bench and to bring everyone else back. It's going to be weird, and it might be Wicks, honestly. But games like this make it hard to do that.
Agreed. Absolutely. Well, the only other thought I had on this game was, I feel like the Lions defensively have always done a good job over these past couple of years of making do with what they had. But I thought in this game, they really didn't have any answers for the Packers purely because they just didn't have the personnel. I thought Aiden Hutchinson was bottled up from what I watched for the most part. And looking back, he only had 3 pressures. He didn't have a single quarterback hit, no sacks. So they took care of him, and the rest of the operation kind of was non-existent. Like they were trying to play man behind and get some pressure up front. But when Terry and Arnold is your best coverage corner, it's not going to work out. And he just consistently got beat on big down after big down. And it's like, what are our answers here? And it led to a Jordan Love just dime session. I mean, I want to give credit where credit is due. I've shit on him a lot in the past a few months now, but this was his best game comfortably for me. And I think he played well, but also the Lions just didn't have the personnel to keep up with the weapons here.
No, they had nothing. They couldn't keep up with Micah Parsons either, who in a lot of normal cases is having a defensive player of the year type season. Just unfortunately, he is playing against the fucking Predator over there in Cleveland. But Micah Parsons already having a great season. To have another 2.5 sacks on top of that this game against a good offensive line, it's pretty scary stuff. And these are the type of games that get people excited about the Packers. Just the only thing for them that we've harped on with Jordan Love and them as a whole is offensive consistency, because we've known they can do this. This is not a surprise, but this is also not their norm, right? Like this is a thing that we're not surprised to see. It happens. They're very good at it. But when, that dime session doesn't show up and it's time to execute like a kind of a more normal traditional offense, they can also put up those 10-point stinkers and lose to people like the Giants and the Browns. Like it's very, very far in between, but this is the high-end stuff that can get them to the Super Bowl if they can find 3 games of just somewhat consistency.
Yep. This is the Packers team that I have expected to see all year long. And like you said, it's just whether or not they show up is the story for them at this stage. My other question, not to hang on this game for much longer, but Dan Campbell was catching flack for his going for it mentality in this game. And it felt like there were moments where everyone was like, just take the points. But for someone that has been on that side of the conversation before, I thought this was not the game for that to be the case. Like the way that Green Bay was moving the football, they had to keep the offense on the field. They had to keep pressing. And I think there was a lot of hindsight with that opinion in this game, especially because if they didn't keep the offense on the field, didn't try for, the 4th downs that they went for, Jameson had a drop. It was literally executed fine outside of that.
Yes.
It's just Dan Campbell caught unnecessary flack in this one for that decision making. They just had to keep up with Green Bay if they wanted to win.
Like you said, it's much bigger than just did it work or did it not work. There are so many things that go into it, and it's just playing your odds. Like you need a touchdown, and then you need another handful of points. Is it more likely that you can kick a field goal, stop this Packers team completely, and then go put together another drive of Tom Kennedy and go score, a 75-yard drive touchdown? Or while you're already down there in scoring territory in 4th and short, we have a good play dialed up. Can we just execute that, score our touchdown while we're already down here, worry about getting the ball back, kicking a 60-yard game winner later? Like, that's a little bit more likely to me than, trying to get the ball back and throwing a Hail Mary at some point. And they had it drawn up. It hit Jamison Williams. It was kind of thrown behind him. He dropped it. The look was there. The play call was there. Everything that they tried to do was there. And football happened. Like, it happens. But I will fully back that up. I don't care about the hindsight. Like, they had it executed perfectly until the very last millisecond where he dropped it.
Yep, 100%. And the other counterpoint is the Packers followed the exact same blueprint, and the difference was they were successful, and the Lions just weren't.
They scored 2 touchdowns on 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they beat them with their own game. And the Lions, I still don't think that's why they lost entirely. They still would have had to go score another touchdown. They lost by 7 points. So they really would have had to have gone for it and scored that touchdown right there anyways to win. So I think going for it was the right choice. They didn't have a snowball's chance in hell to beat this Packers team if they didn't score a touchdown on that drive.
Agreed. There was further controversy as this one winded down, where Christian Watson had his hand pulled back going for a football on a big 3rd down, which then segued into the Chiefs and Cowboys game, where I thought there was just ticky-tacky call after missed call from the refs. And unfortunately, it was a classic to some extent, but I thought there was a lot of influence from stripes in this Chiefs and Cowboys game, where I'm like, man, they really just could not keep the flag away for that. And that's coming from a Bills fan. I posted a video about it, and they're like, oh, a Chiefs fan? No, buddy, fuck you. I'm the complete polar opposite. I just have 2 eyes. What did you think of the flags that were flying in this game?
Oh, I loved them. I loved them. No, not even. But, like, some of them were just so ticky-tacky. Like, I think the one that people point to is also, like, the Trent McDuffie one on George Pickens. Like, either way he caught it. Yeah, whatever. But just to call that, like, if anything, it was a push-off by Pickens. But, like, Thanksgiving, we have physical receivers, we have physical corners, two good offenses and defenses. Like, why don't we just let them play a little bit? Like, we watched the Ohio State-Michigan game. They didn't call shit the whole game because they understood kind of just, like, what this game is. It's a big game. Everybody's watching. Everybody's uncle is watching this game. Let's just let them play. Like, we'll call the fouls that need to be called, but we're not going to call the ticky-tacky shit because this game's not about us. And they made it about them anyways, the refs did. The entire NFL handled all of Thanksgiving stupid. To go back to the Packers game for 1 second, I will be really pissed if the report is true that security guard got fired for eating that piece of turkey. I will be so upset.
Wait, that happened?
Yeah,
I think even hear that.
But did you see that there was a did you see that somebody on the Packers offered a security guard like a piece of meat or like from the feast?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're true, but I did hear reports that guy got fired.
No way.
They could be totally wrong.
I'm seeing that too. Wow, that would be a bunch of bullshit.
That's what I mean. What is the NFL getting involved in all this stupid shit for? Let the guys play. Let the security guard eat some food. Leave it alone.
Wow. Yeah, and then they also moved the first game from 12:30 to 1, which was also a questionable decision to begin with.
Yeah, move it up. Move it to 10:15.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
Us East Coast people need to wake up and just watch football. We are tired of catering to the West.
Yeah, seriously. And then, when they do the early games, it's just at the ass crack of dawn for everybody.
It's always just Jacksonville.
Yeah,
it's always Jacksonville, and they suck in them every time. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I thought the biggest call to me that stood out that I was not a fan of was on the final drive where Dallas leaked the clock out. It was 3rd and 8, and it was either 2nd and 8 or 3rd and 8. And Pickens ran a slant against Jalen Watson. It was just hand fighting right at the line of scrimmage. If anything, I thought Pickens extended his hands out.
Yeah.
And then Watson was forced to jump back into the play because he was kind of boxed out. And if he would have been contacting Pickens early, it's a flag. But he mistakenly timed it perfectly to where if you watch it in slow motion, the ball is right above Pickens' hands at the very second that Watson flies in and makes contact. And in real time, to the ref's credit, it did look like it could have been easily flagged, but just looking back at it quickly, it wasn't. And I feel like, once again, when talking about the moment and really letting the guys play when it comes down to it, that was one of those times. Yeah. Final drive, they're trying to leak the clock out. It's just an incomplete pass. Let it be incomplete. Let the game run its course. Like, you don't have to throw that flag there. I didn't think it was egregious enough in real time, even though it might have looked like it. It just was frustrating because it was just such a fun game. Like, Mahomes did everything in his fucking power once again to put the cape on. It just wasn't enough. Like, 4 touchdowns, 261 yards. Like, he really couldn't have done it really much more at all.
No, I mean, the Cowboys just after a brutal start, they started executing really well. I mean, you had Malik Davis running for a 45-yard touchdown, and Kevontae Turpin was doing Kevontae Turpin things. CeeDee Lamb heard me talking shit about him. Heard all of Cowboys fans saying they want to get rid of him and give his number to Pickens. Like Pickens actually had a solid game. Like, he had like a B+ game, I'd give him. But CD had like an A+ game. He was freaking fantastic. So credit to CD, credit to Dak. He was awesome outside of that first pick. Dallas just earned it. Like, they've really, we talked about this last week, just dug their feet in. Like, this is a legitimate playoff football team. This is a good football team that arguably is also the most fun to watch in all of the NFL. So these kind of wins are so big for them. And it's really increasing their odds to make the playoffs, especially as the Eagles keep losing.
100%. Yeah, it was just like they felt like a force, like a power saw. Anything they did was working. There was no moment where I was like, oh shit, like I think the momentum's swinging back to Kansas City, or I think that Dallas is on their heels. It was just constantly like pedal to the metal. And the one thing I feel like people saw this game and they're like, oh my God, George Pickens, just as like we all have been for these last few weeks. But to me, like, if they don't recover that fumble from Pickens in the red zone and they lose, like, I think the optics on everything is probably different, because you lose this game, then you're 5-6-1. Pickens went from being the hero to like, oh, he fumbled the ball and basically the season's over now. And then people are like, why did we even bother trading for Quinnen Williams? Like, I think if you lose this game and off of a fumble like that, a lot is different. So I'm not going to suggest that they played bad or something ridiculous like that, but it was one fumble like the one Pickens had from being like completely different.
That is true. But that's just part of the game. It's just also about just capitalizing on the opportunities that are given to you. And they took advantage of all of them.
Mm-hmm. Do you think...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything important.
Well, something I saw after this game that everyone was arguing about was whether or not Xavier Worthy should have scored when he caught that deep ball. Do you think he should have? Like, everyone,
I think he should have tried.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just to like catch it and then sprint out of bounds there is kind of like, I think an unwillingness to cut back and try, like, envision the exact same thing and think about what George Pickens would have done. He would have punched the first guy, cut back inside, hurdled the next guy, and then did a backflip over the next guy. Like, George Pickens, you can say whatever you want about him. I have never seen a player give more effort after the catch in my life.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a naturally skilled runner after the catch.
No.
He is not Debo, but like, he'll make it look like it because he's trying so hard to score a touchdown every time he touches it. And it felt like Worthy was pretty happy with the play he just made, and then just wanted to set them up for the next one. There was no like effort to cut it back in. There was no, I'm the fastest guy on this planet, I'm gonna really book it to the other side of the field and see what I can do here.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, all right, nice play, me. Out of bounds. I am safe. But you would like in a tight game on Thanksgiving, you really, with the playoffs on the line for you, like honestly, you really would like to see him try and score that, but I wouldn't say that's what lost them the game. It's just one play that he probably should have put more effort on, but it's ticky tacky.
Yeah, I just thought like just on how he was running, like if you watch the all 22, he goes from left to right, basically running like a really deep broken. Wait, where actually am I lying? I'm watching it back right now. It's like a wasp. Oh, it's like the Tyreek Hill. Do you remember from the Super Bowl? It's the wasp.
Yes, they put it in Madden. It never worked.
No, it was the worst play ever. Like you get sacked or throw a pick every time you run it.
Yeah.
He basically runs the wasp route that Tyreek ran from that game. And so he basically is coming from the middle of the field or from left to right, but he's running in a direction that would keep his momentum going toward the right sideline. And people are thinking he should have caught it and understood that there was no one to the side he just came from, and he should have went that way instead of turning toward the way he did. But it's like he doesn't have eyes on the back of his head. No. He's coming from that side of the field. He just turned the way that he was going originally, which I think is completely understandable. Like people are doing the famous screenshotting the very moment of the play and being like, you'll never guess which way Xavier Worthy ran. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, throw the orbit.
Like, it's just his average Twitter banter, but
yeah, everyone that tweeted that is just 150 pounds. Have never actually carried the football in their life. Xavier Worthy is also 150 pounds, I'm sure, but he has carried the football in his life, and he has shown plays with more of an urgency to score. So sometimes you just kind of figure like they saw it a certain way. It still was a really big play. I don't think that's what changed the game. I think it was a good play, and that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, I think Rashee Rice is also severely overrated. That's my final comment.
He is among that, like, that makes sense to me because he is among that, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown type of usage of a receiver where it's less downfield and a little bit more close to the line of scrimmage type impact. So I see that. I see where that's coming from.
Yeah, it's very on brand for me. It's very targeted.
Almost. It's very consistent.
Yes.
which is good. Like you have like he's no Cortland Sutton.
No, he's not. You're fucking right. He's not.
He caught a touchdown today.
I know. I was waiting for it. This was supposed to be his bounce back. I need him to get to like 60 yards, which I don't think is going to happen.
56.
Oh, really? Last I checked, he did not have that. Okay. The Cortland Sutton bounce back game. But yeah, I don't know. It's just every single time I see Rashee Rice catch a pass, it's either on like a quick screen, an RPO where he's running the slant, or it's like when Mahomes is rolling right and he's coming from left to right and just following him and he's just like outruns somebody. Like that's the only time. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him win on an actual route ever. Now that I think about it. Like,
that was never really his game, even in college. He was just a rack beast.
Yeah. Well, I don't need as much flack as Xavier Worthy gets. I don't think he's the most overrated receiver on their team.
Not the best, though. He might be fourth.
That was not nice. No, he's not. I'm kidding. Stop.
I'm kidding.
All right.
He's no
final game.
That was the Bengals and Ravens.
Oh, how could I forget?
What a game.
How could I forget?
Oh, how could I forget? I didn't. I was so excited. Because it was day one of having Joey be back, and it took like 4 kind of like shaky throws to get them out of the way for you to realize like, okay, maybe this offense isn't like just a QB factory. Maybe Flacco just had a couple good games because it felt way different having him in there.
It did. Like there were throws that he hit that I'm like, wow, it was Joe Burrow. Like people will act like it's not the case because they'll see points being scored and the Bengals competing, but there are always going to be throws that Joe Burrow can make that guys like Joe Flacco just can't. And there was one, I think, in the second quarter or something where someone ran an in-breaker. They had a guy draped on their back, and he handed it off like 20 yards downfield under pressure. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about or not.
I think that might have been to Gesicki. I remember one like that.
Yeah.
but that's just kind of how a lot of his throws feel. Like they're pitch and catch.
Mm-hmm.
It is just like, I am giving this ball to you. Whereas some quarterbacks, they're just like ripping it at you, kind of like hoping that it gets to somewhere around your body. Him, it legitimately feels like he is putting it on a very, very specific portion of your body to give you a chance to catch it. And that's really how it felt, especially with that dime to Tanner Hudson on Kyle Hamilton. I was shocked because they got to the red zone anytime they wanted. They just couldn't finish for like 4 straight drives.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the run, he throws a dime to Tanner Hudson, catches it one-handed over like the best non-Myles Garrett defensive player in the league. And I was sitting there. I watched the game like by myself. I was just like, I was in silence. I just took it all in. It was beautiful.
Mm.
And then he threw a touchdown to Andre Yoshibas. Like, I was just, nothing made sense.
Yeah, there was genuine concern early on, like, because outside of that big catch by Jamar, he was kind of being taken away. Like they were bottling him up, and the question was, who is kind of going to step up here? And I had a 7 reception, 100-yard, and touchdown bet slip for Mike Gesicki going, so I thought it was going to be him, but it wasn't. They employed
never him.
No, it wasn't. They deployed 4 tight ends in this game, and it was kind of just a mixed bag of everyone contributing. Like we had Noah Fant catch a pass. Drew Sample had a catch. Tanner Hudson had the touchdown grab. P. Ryan had 2. Gesicki had 2. Tinsley had 2. Yossi Vosh had a catch, and Chase Brown had 7. But this really is not how we typically see the Bengals work. It's usually just a funnel between 2 guys. So it was cool to see them be able to win in that way against what is one of the better defenses in the NFL. Although on that note, I will say the second that I think it was Nate Wiggins got hurt, that was when it started to really get shaky for that defense. And Jamar Chase required more attention from guys that aren't as good, which then I think opened up a lot more for everybody else. So
I don't think he was the best corner in that game. Freaking Chidobe Awuzie.
You locked him up.
Was lights out.
Yes.
Like, he is really good every 4 years, but on that 4th year, he is unbelievable. And this is that year. Like, he has not been impactful since he was a Bengal.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good for us and then disappeared off the face of the earth, got hurt. He's like 30. And he's really good. But I think the big, really confusing part was Al Golden's Bengals defense. They turned up the heat. Like, they were blitzing the shit out of Lamar. Miles Murphy and Joseph Osai were winning like a lot of pass rushes. They were blitzing safeties and linebackers a lot. And it really, really worked. It caused a lot of fumbles, a lot of stress. And it made Lamar just look plain bad. That might have been his worst game, borderline ever.
I would say it was. I think that was comfortably Lamar Jackson's worst game of all time. And I think it's a tough fence for me to fall one way or the other on, because on one hand, I see people coming out of the woodwork like victory lapping this. See, I told you Lamar's bad. I've been saying it all this time. He's a running back, can't throw from the pocket, like all that bullshit. Obviously, I don't fall on that side of the spectrum, because on the other hand, he's playing injured, and I understand that the interior offensive line is dastardly. I also understand that the receivers he's throwing to are not great. I empathize with that, to being a Bills fan. Like, the weapons just really aren't good for an offense that doesn't have Lamar Jackson moving the way that Lamar Jackson typically does. But on the other hand, I just don't think a lot of other quarterbacks kind of get the injury break excuse. Yeah. So why should Lamar? Like, there are still plays he's making where it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he fumbles from the pocket more than anybody should. For somebody that is so elusive, so good with the football in their hands, he puts it on the ground as much as Josh Allen throws it to somebody else. It's a problem. It's a legitimate problem. And I think we've ascended like the external circumstances of why Lamar is struggling. And now he's just flat out playing bad, which is okay to admit, but yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, find me a quarterback that hasn't had a bad stretch of like 5 games. It happens to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think admitting that's fine. Like, he is having a very poor stretch of games. And I do agree. I think a lot of it is injury based. I think when I watched that game, I can look back and I can not tell you a single time where I think a receiver made a really nice play, except for when Likely caught that ball in route to a huge touchdown and dropped it on the 1 yard line. So which would have been a, counting as like a 50 something yard touchdown on a great play, ended up being a fumble in the Bengals' favor. So like on the small amount of stuff that he did right, they still were not benefited by any amount of points. So looking back at it, I mean, Zay Flowers, he fumbled, he had drops, he was completely taken out of the game by DJ Turner. Nobody else showed up except for Isaiah Likely, who still screwed them over in the end with that huge fumble on the 1 yard line. So it was a mix of Lamar being bad, just freaking out under pressure, and then also not having a single other soul help him really in any way.
Yeah, basically, it really was. They're not a team that can have a wide margin for error anymore. And I think before, over the last couple of years, one thing that I've always felt about Lamar is that the defense for Baltimore is usually top notch, and a lot of the stale drives that he might go through, or the points in games where they just can't pick up a first down, they get masked by the defense matching that. And that's, not really the case anymore. And not because the defense is struggling, but simply because the offense can't move the ball, period. But all in that to say, they cannot afford these goofy ass mistakes. Like, they can't. Like, Lamar gets hit from behind, the ball pops up in the air and ends up in a Bengals player's arms. Like, and then the Isaiah Likely thing happened. Zay Flowers fumbles. And then you can look back to last year in the Bills playoff game. Lamar throws a goofy pick, and then Zay Flowers has Mark Andrews, has a fumble, and then he has that drop. It just is like the way they turn the ball over or miss opportunities is so goofy all the time.
Yeah. Very rarely off the top of my head does like Lamar Jackson drop back and just throw a pick because like a robber comes down and jumps the throw that he didn't see. Like, it's not like he makes a lot of like these kind of just like mental mistakes where he didn't process something. It's always just somebody trying to make a play and they just take it way too far. Even with the Mark Andrews one, like he was trying to make a play after the catch that he wasn't built for, turned the wrong way, got it punched out. Lamar with a fumble in the playoffs, same thing. Like, it could have been easily avoided if he didn't try to brace himself with a football. Like, it was two stupid plays that kind of recap every turnover they have. The fumbles that they got, the Zay Flowers fumble, the pick, like everything was just people trying to make a play that wasn't there. And the Bengals took advantage of literally every single opportunity that was given to them.
Absolutely. The other point of contention was Derrick Henry's usage. My first question is, do you think Derrick Henry is washed? Are you watching him and thinking, wow, this is not Derrick Henry?
I don't think he's washed. I was talking to my dad about this earlier, though, about like fantasy running backs in general. Of like, the only thing more important than a running back's usage this year is their usage last year. And someone like Derrick Henry, like Saquon, like Josh Jacobs, they're older running backs that were pounded into the ground last season. And it's not like they're bad this year. They just physically can't handle it. Like, they cannot handle 20 carries per game 2 seasons in a row. And I think that's kind of how Derrick Henry is looking right now. Like, he is kind of looking his age. He has his moments where he really shines. He had a huge run, and then he also had that catch and run where he broke an angle and got chased down by Miles Murphy. But like, he looked sharp in a couple different plays. And I just don't think that he can handle that amount of usage at the moment. He's just too old, and he had like 300 something touches last season.
Do you think that's why the usage feels light this year then? Because that would make sense. Maybe they're just trying not to kill him any further, although we're getting to a point in their season where they got to throw the sink at it. So this felt like one of those games. As you mentioned, the Bengals were not racking up touchdowns drive after drive. They were stalling. They were kicking field goals. I mean, Evan McPherson scored me 22 fantasy points. Like, that is how they beat him. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. So it's like, this was the perfect game where it felt like maybe Derrick Henry could have had a larger impact than 11 total touches, given how everyone else was basically malfunctioning anytime the ball came near them.
Yeah, I mean, for him, it was hard because it kind of was like break off a run or get stuffed. Like, it very rarely wasn't like 5, 6, 6. Like, he wasn't paper cutting people. It was like 10-yard run, 30-yard run, or 1, 1, 1. And I think it was hard to justify running on 2nd and 9, like trying to string together 2 runs like that. But still, to only escape with like 10 carries on the game, that's bad. And his biggest play was a catch that he got in open space. And I think they definitely would have had a better chance if they would have kept running the ball. I just don't know if he's up for it, like physically.
Yeah, it makes sense why his usage hasn't been there. Although we have seen the Ravens unnecessarily get away from their ground game before, which
it has happened in big primetime games.
Yeah, it's very puzzling. And then everyone sees it and they're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But then there's, the week 1 games or the 1 o'clock games and random week 4 where Henry has 25 touches and they win and no one says a word. But then on the primetime stages, it's like, yeah, why did he only get 10?
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, speaking of pounding the rock, how about Friday? The Chicago Bears embarrassed the Philadelphia Eagles. We are talking like dangling the money, the lunch money over the short kid's head and saying, you got to get it. You got to get it. And they just couldn't. Like, the kid is small and short. He knows he just has to jump up and get the money, but he can't. No matter what he tries, he can't do it. And that's how it felt watching Ben Johnson, Roshan Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, and company just abuse the front seven for Philadelphia. They couldn't do anything about it. It was just, I'll take my ass beating.
I mean, like you could have put your uncle at halfback and shoved him up the middle, and he could have got 3. Like that's how this game was looking. Like, anybody that touched that ball could have got 3 on any given carry, because the offensive line investment plus the play calling they had in this game was just, it was pristine against a supposed to be impenetrable front full of Georgia alums. They were just shoving him out of the way. Like, it's kind of back-to-back games where Jalen Carter looks pretty dang human. They kind of just had the linebackers in a mental scramble. There were a lot of games, I was talking about this in the Discord, where their run plays looked like play action. And it's kind of supposed to look the other way. But there were some plays where I was watching it all 22 where I was so convinced that Caleb kept that ball and was rolling out. And the defense felt the same way. And there goes Swift countering it, going the other direction for 15 yards. It was just truly Ben Johnson stuff. And it wasn't stuff that you might not notice on your first watch, but going back and rewatching it, how confused that Eagles front was, this is scary stuff.
It is. It's really terrifying. The Bears haven't had 2 100-yard rushers in the same game. I don't know do you remember what that stat was? I don't know if it was
I don't even know who it would be. Who would it be? Like Matt Forte and freaking, like, I don't even know who it would have been. Was Jordan Howard one of them?
200-yard rushers.
Was it like Red Bryant or Red Grange?
Bears have 2 100-yard rushers in the same game since 1985.
So Walter and who?
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That beats me. But yes, Walter is definitely one of those. Oh, here we go. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai are the first Bears duo to each have 100 rushing yards in the same game since Walter Payton and Matt Suhey in week 10.
I don't know who that is. But yeah, that's crazy. And it truly felt like it. Like this is the best version of Swift we've seen. Kyle Monangai has really turned into like his David Montgomery. Like that's really how this feels. And even though the passing game wasn't really fully there until like the very end of the game, They didn't even need it. Their defense looked good because they got a couple guys back. They got Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon back from injury, who are both straight studs. Like very, very underrated, both of them. And it looked like it. The Eagles, outside of a couple splash plays, could not move the football whatsoever. That there is not a Super Bowl team. Unless they can find something in Saquon to wake his ass up, they are not winning a Super Bowl game.
Nope. They're not winning a wild card game if they don't win their
Not like that.
No, like they're in a very, very scary spot. And I think the thing that made the Eagles so impenetrable last year was their ability to beat you in different ways. And when the run game wasn't working, and at least when Jalen Hurts was on, it felt like there was nothing you could do. Like you could stuff them on first down, you can get them to second down, get them to third down, but then Jalen Hurts is, hitting AJ Brown on an out route or Devontae Smith over top. That is not the case this year, of course. And now for their defense, which it looked like could have been playing Houston Texans level, winning them football games single-handedly, if that's not what they are and the blueprint's kind of out, it might feel like that 2022 or 2023 was it Eagles team again. Mm-hmm. And to that point, the Bears were the ones in that position where no matter what they did, it was working. They were winning the game on the ground, which I never would have predicted. I thought they were going to have to win through the air. Caleb was going to have to be perfect, and he barely did anything. It was impressive to see them win in a different way.
I loved it, though. Like, it just brought a well-roundedness where you kind of understand that when Caleb does have those super sharp games, they're going to be really, really hard to beat. This defense has struggled a lot this season, but not right now. Here recently, like they have like 3 of the top 5 interception leaders. And that's without, I would say, their top 2 DBs in Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, who they both just got back, both of them from injury. And they both looked really good in this game too. So I would be worried about the freaking Bears, who are number 1 in the NFC now after the Rams lost to the Panthers. This is insane.
Not a soul would have seen this coming. I find it funny that one of our earliest episodes was titled, "Is Ben Johnson a Vampire?" And the topic was whether or not this guy was like really even like a human. Like we never really heard him speak. He didn't seem to give off leadership qualities, yet the expectations that were set for him going into the cycle and then after he was hired for Chicago felt so sky high. It was like, how in God's name is he going to live up to these expectations? It felt like he was being set up to fail, to be quite honest with you. Yet somehow here we are, and he has not only fulfilled everything he's supposed to be, but it's even more. Like I didn't think he would ever live up to being the head coach that people made it seem like he would be in that cycle. It was like landing Jesus if you got him as a head coach.
Like he's in the locker room ripping his shirt off, like, screaming at people. Like he's hype. And this is not our fault. This is Detroit's fault. They did not let us see this really cool version of Ben Johnson. Maybe they didn't want him to be. Maybe they were like, "Hey, dork, read your books." Back to the books. What are you doing in the cafeteria? And he was quiet. But now that we get to see him like truly take on this leadership role, he's freaking awesome. Like this guy is easily one of the most likable coaches in the NFL. He's young, he's highly intelligent, and it's not just like trick plays. I think that's like a stigma around Ben Johnson. It's like he is just a bunch like a bag of tricks. He's just a really good play caller. Like their 4th down play calls that were simple football plays were just very well timed and well practiced, well executed. Like everything that they're doing with a young offense too. Like these aren't guys that have been playing together for years. They're all pretty new to each other, and they look like a pretty well-oiled machine.
They do. And I think what people misinterpret when they think, oh, Ben Johnson gimmicky trick plays and fake fumble to touchdown and end around and whatever. The thing that makes Ben Johnson so special is, like you said, the way he maps out a game. He always is in control of what he could call. So he's constantly setting up things later in the game. There are constantly things that he knows the defense is waiting for that he picks up on and takes advantage of. Like he's always in the head of the opposing team, opposing coordinators. But the other thing from a literal play calling perspective that I've always noticed and appreciated is that everything is misdirection. You were saying it earlier, how the linebackers were confused as to where the ball went. Even you watching it on the All-22, you were confused. And that's not like tricks necessarily. It's just, I mean, I guess it is. Misdirection,
it is,
tricks.
But it's bigger than a trick play. It's not a trick play. It's just, it's fooling your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NFL, you only have to fool someone's eyes for like 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, and DeAndre Swift's the other way, and he has 15 yards. And a couple of those per game is going to be a really big problem for your defense. And he did that quite often. And then on top of that, they can also just smash mouth football. Like they can go old school. And they did a lot with Kyle Monangai. They just ran him hard behind a really good run blocking line. And they just took the Eagles' soul.
They did. They really did. And the best play call of the game to me was probably, I think it was on the last drive where they were just trying to pick up first downs. And, you know, it had been stretch runs. It had been inside between the tackle runs. Like a lot of just running back. But then right when the moment was correct, it was Caleb Williams fakes it, he pulls it, and he runs it the opposite way. And it's the easiest first down that Caleb has ever ran for in his life. It's just like that was the epitome of how that game was called. The way he waits for the correct moment to call the plays like those that he does. And this was his career game. This was that career win for Ben Johnson so far, easily.
It was. And it's a short career so far.
Mm-hmm.
So to already have a couple of these under his belt, beat it first in the NFC with a young quarterback and young receivers. It's really, really cool. And they're being really well set up to enter the playoffs hot, with a hot defense and a hot offensive line, hot running backs. Like they're ready to go.
They're heating up. They're heating up at the right time. That's for sure.
Yes. The Eagles are not.
No, they're not. I think my final thought on this game, and it was something that I saw some people kicking around, was if I think it speaks volumes about Nick Sirianni if I can sit here and say that I would have been okay with them firing him after they won the Super Bowl. Like that's an insane thought. Like, yeah, I can still feel good about firing my head coach despite winning it all, because that's how useless he is.
They would have been just as good.
Yes.
They would have been just fine. I think he does a good job in the locker room. Like, doesn't have a lot of issues. He keeps everybody motivated, but like, still, their offensive play calling is awful, and they're even having a hard time executing the plays that do work. Like, I've seen a lot of memes about like Jalen Hurts misses Devontae on a wide open slant. Like, how did the offensive coordinator do this?
Yeah.
Why would he make Jalen Hurts miss him? That's horrible coaching. But there is truth to it. Like, it is bad play calling. It's very stale. It's very boring. It's very, very wrong to not use your playmakers in a bigger way. But at the same time, he probably doesn't have any faith because they're not even executing slants. They're not executing simple run plays. They're dropping stuff. It's no bueno. No bueno for Philly.
Very much.
It's not always sunny.
No, it's not. And it's been dark for them lately.
It's been very dark.
Well, the Texans and Colts, talk about storm clouds rolling in. The thunderstorm is starting. The tornadoes are starting to swirl in Indianapolis. And I feel bad because it's really not their fault. Daniel Jones breaks his fibula. I just learned that via Newsbreak the other day.
I watched him trying to move. He's hurt. He's hurt like bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, with the way he's moving, I think most quarterbacks would be on the IR with what he has.
And the fact that they can't even turn to a backup, because from reports, I saw a tweet from somebody that this could be a rumor that claims to be like within the Colts organization or around it. I guess like that eye injury that Anthony Richardson suffered was like no joke, like to the point where they don't even know if he can like really play football. I don't know if he's practicing or not, but I think between that and the fact that he sucks, they can't turn to him. Long story short.
Well, that's just bad coaching because they have Jason Bean on their team who could be fucking incredible, but no one will ever give him the chance. It's just poor coaching on site. Rip his Coach of the Year award away.
Yeah.
You should have Jason Bean. I don't know why they have freaking Riley Noodle Arm Leonard as their QB3, now QB2. It should be Jason Bean, the Kansas Jayhawk. But yeah, it's bad. Like I was even saying, like talk about bad officiating on one team's end. The Colts, I felt like were on the receiving end of one of the biggest just shaftings of the year. Honestly, like the amount of just missed like the defensive pass interference calls against them that just simply weren't, or even close to them, or even explainable. Like a couple times watching that game, they called it like there was one on Kenny Moore where I watched his rep and I just assumed they called the wrong guy's number because there was nothing even close to pass interference. The holding calls, like they're calling snatch traps holdings. It was so ugly. And like I was looking at the stat sheet, everyone played well. And I was like, how did this team lose? Like what was going on in this game where a team that played pretty well lost? And then I looked back at it and it was just the officiating, honestly, to me.
Yeah, it was bad. There was even a point where the Texans kicked the extra point.
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
Like 99% of the world is confident that did not go in. And I am one of those people.
It did not.
It didn't go in. Like, what were they looking at? And the part that drove me nuts is that they both definitively put their arms up and said good. I'm like, not usually maybe one of them will look over at the other guy for like that split second and be like,
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, this one was like they were both like, yep, good.
Oh my, yeah, I'm watching it back. It's like,
no, it did not go in. How?
No.
There's like, I might need to see a better angle because it looks to me like that's a miss.
And it kind of encompassed the whole game, just misses on the ref's part. And the point about the bad luck is like they go into this game against this ferocious, junkyard dog front four, and Daniel Jones is on one leg, and then they're halfway through the first quarter, and Sauce Gardner leaves with a calf injury, and then they're dealing with all of this other shit with the refs. It's like it really was the sky is falling for Indianapolis, and it sucks because it sucks when it's because of performance and your team just isn't as good, and you're just realizing that, but that's not really the case here. And Daniel Jones somehow was effectively passing the ball at times when you would have thought he would get eaten alive. Like, given his leg in this game and how Jonathan Taylor was hobbled and how they were losing. I thought there was a drive specifically. I think it was the one where Josh Downs had a couple big catches where I was like, this is going to be a bad drive. Like, this is not good. They can't rely on Daniel. And he was dealing. So when things are just out of your control and it's kind of starting the downfall, that sucks. That really does. I feel bad for them.
And they have a hard schedule too. Like, it felt like they were like the luckiest team in the NFL for a while, and now they're like the unluckiest. Like, the quarterback is hurt and he plays through it. They're being shafted by officiating. Their opponents are getting kicks called that are called good that just are not good. Like, I don't even know how you could deal with that. They're just giving them points on times where they didn't even earn points. It was strange, and it was a strange game where another game where for the Colts where I felt like they didn't play bad. Like, they keep losing games where they don't play bad, and it's very strange.
It is, and the Texans, like, I didn't think they played bad. I thought they deserved to win the game. I thought they played solid, but circumstances and on top of the fact that CJ Stroud just still doesn't look right. Like, I didn't strike his performance to be too impressive. I'm sitting here thinking, man, maybe maybe Davis Mills wasn't so bad for this offense after all.
I'm saying.
And we kind of already highlighted why last week or a couple weeks ago, but Davis Mills and his negatives are not too negative. They're, small little, hits to your ribs that you can take. But
Yeah.
CJ Stroud's negatives are haymakers to the jaw where you have to where you get pushed back and you're trying to regain your consciousness. It is just such a bad thing for a team that is winning because of their defense. They only scored 20 points again. This is the magic number for this team. And Stroud made it very difficult for them to do so at times. So it's a question that I am starting to really wonder about. What is with CJ Stroud? What's the problem? Is he just not as good as we thought he was? That excuse of the offensive line stuff kind of goes out the window now that we've seen Mills to some extent, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't playing cupcake defenses either, Davis Mills. He genuinely, he was under pressure. He was making tight window throws. He was very on time. That was one thing I noticed. It felt like he got the ball out a full second and a half faster than Stroud. And I don't even know if that's true, but it just really felt like he was mitigating pressure much, much cleaner. And we've kind of talked about it before, if Houston is to fail to make the playoffs or to win in them, it's because of the pressure that gets to them. Whether whose fault it is or not, pressure getting to the quarterback is why they will lose. And with Stroud, it just feels like pressure gets to him much faster and more often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I remember correctly, didn't the Texans stop the Colts on 4th down deep in their own territory? And then the very next play, Bozo Stroud just throws an errant pass into the Colts secondary on 1st and 10, mind you. It was literally, maybe that's the wrong play. No, it was 1st and 10. 1st and 10, the very first play coming off of the defensive turnover. He throws a Bozo pick. It's dude, that Davis Mills just wouldn't have done that. Maybe they go 3 and out, but
maybe
at least they punt. Stroud just throws just the most boneheaded pick into coverage on 1st and 10. So that's what I'm talking about. Those are the moments they can't have. And when it comes to, the postseason where they're playing some better teams, this formula just isn't going to work. So It's fun right now. I think they deserve to make it. I think they deserve to win the division. I want to see them in the playoffs because I think it'll be fun. But the quarterback play really is going to be the difference because now Jaden Higgins is starting to emerge. Nico Collins is catching fire. Woody Marks is running the ball well. All of those other things we were worried about are starting to kind of glue together. It's going to come down to Stroud and whether or not he can just not do stupid shit like he did in this Colts game. So
those are fair criticisms. It's kind of felt like for a while Stroud has been a guy that's pretty impossible to criticize. He feels like one of those more protected guys where it's it's never his fault. He has a ton of talent, and he does. He has so much talent, which is why I don't like to criticize him because of the player that he really could be. And we have seen from him before. But now with the offensive line that he has, I think he's doing a really poor job of handling that. And I think that's someone else's fault. I think that's the GM's fault. I've gotten into that, of giving him that just the 5 traffic cones in front of him. But still, he's at some point you got to nut up, get the ball out faster, find a different way to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he should say his prayers every night that he was blessed with that defense, because that's where I give that GM credit. I mean, he built him a great defense that is carrying them to wins, but someday they might not hold every opponent below 20 points. Someday they might need to go score, and it's going to be on Stroud.
Yep. I'm not sure if he's in a place to make that stuff kind of happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the Rams and Panthers game was possibly the most entertaining one of the week, depending on where you had your money. I think a lot of people were probably pretty unhappy with Rams money line / spread picks, but yeah, wow. I'm still a Bryce Young hater. I live and die by it. But I'll sit here and eat my crow for week 13 and say he made plays. There were some plays that he made when it was necessary to win them the football game. It felt like early on, I'm like, oh, here comes the average Bryce Young 150-yard game where he deserves a chance, or he gets a chance to win it despite not doing anything because his defense, gets a pick six and picks off Matthew Stafford twice for that matter. And, oh, here's Bryce Young with his potential game-winning drive opportunity, and he's going to be the hero. That's the path I thought it was trending down, but it wasn't. The Rams didn't just throw 2 picks and die in a hole. They kept scoring points that required Bryce Young to match, and he did with a few big fourth down throws too.
Yeah, it was nice to see Jalen Coker be wide receiver 1 again. I don't want to say like someone like Jalen Coker was like the missing cog to this offense, but every time he gets going, this offense is electric. Like he was their best receiver this game. Ted McMillan got open. He only had 1 catch of the game, but it was a huge one for a touchdown himself. Like everyone on this offense is built to go that way, deep that way. And it kind of felt like they had this offense kind of shelled up a little bit. It was kind of more of a like precision-based, timing-based offense, and that's just not Bryce. He's not capable of doing that. And they let it loose. They threw it deep. They were taking shots. They were pushing the ball, and they did really, really well with it. And that's where most of their best plays came from. So really good on them. A lot of accurate throws by Bryce Young. He looked good. The defense looked solid with their turnovers. Everything clicked for him.
It did. And it was kind of Dave Canales run the ball down your throat type of game too. Like we saw with Ben Johnson and the Bears against the Eagles. This was very, very similar, with Canales, Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. They had 40 carries in this game for 164 yards. They just bullied the Rams up front. Pure smash mouth football in the elements. I think that also had something to do with it. Like they were forced into a very trench-like football game, which I thought long term over the course of 4 quarters, the Rams would have overpowered them, but they just could not get a tackle for 1 yard or 2 yards or even for loss when Cuba had the ball in his hands. It just was always 4, 5, 6 yards, and it did not put Bryce Young into too many high-pressure situations. And, of course, the ones he was in, he was successful. But that was really the story of it, was how physical they were and how the Rams just really did not have an answer at all.
No. And I think a lot of the credit I give to that offense is the offensive line. Their center position's been a rotating wheel, but Damian Lewis is legitimately, like, if I'm giving out all pro honors, I think he's getting one of my first team spots. Like, he has been that good. They have ran the ball down everyone's mouth, and we've talked about it before. Even though Bryce had a really nice game, still the only way they win these games is when they run for 160 plus yards and a couple touchdowns, because that's just who their offense is now. But they did that against a really good front, and they should feel really good about it. But just string a couple together and we can stop being critical, because it does feel like every 5 games or every 4 games they do put together something like this that makes it hard to criticize, and then they go back to getting beat by 40 by the Bills. Like, we just want to see a little consistency, but this was a good step.
It was a big one in reaching that conclusion. And the defense too, we kind of talked about how it was a very cohesive effort from both the offense and the defense, but it was, truthfully, they scored a ton of points off of turnovers. They won the game on a turnover. There was I think it was a strip sack, right? I'm not sure who stripped them, but
I don't remember either.
Nonetheless, their defense won them the game. Like, the Rams were driving down the field, getting ready to tie it or potentially win it with a touchdown, and the defense went out there and made a big play. So a very good two-way effort from Carolina. Win in the trenches on the ground, and then I guess win with the secondary in a way on defense because, man, I mean, Matthew Stafford hadn't thrown a fucking interception for how many weeks was it? Like 8? I think it was 10. I think he hadn't thrown a pick since week 2. I mean, he only had 2 going into this game. Long story short, so
yes, and it was scary. I mean, he still played a great football game outside of those interceptions. But he's making this MVP race hard.
Yeah, I know, man. Come on.
But also, like, no one else in the MVP race really did anything else outside of maybe Dak this week. Mm-hmm. So this Heisman race and this MVP race are so weak. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it is.
I'm voting Myles Garrett. If I had a vote, I am legitimately voting Myles Garrett. I don't care about team wins, honestly.
Yeah, right now I would. Like, after that Stafford performance, I don't think anyone is comfortably far ahead enough. I think Stafford is still my one. And at the end of the day, like, everyone's going to have a sour game here and there. But if that happens, if this happens again at some point later in the season, or if he just kind of cools down, Myles Garrett has 19 sacks and 4 away from the record with, 6 games left? How do you not even consider him? How?
I don't know. Some dork is going to be sitting there saying, well, if he was really that valuable, the team would have more wins. Like, those kind of comments are seriously why I want to go buy a gun. Like, honestly, like I can't handle it anymore. I can't. It's so bad. That was a great game.
It was. So credit to the Panthers. You know, I've given credit to both Jordan Love and Bryce Young on this podcast today. So we're
turning a new leaf.
Yes,
we are in the Christmas spirit already.
Yes, I will be happily hand delivering coal to Bryce Young though if he puts up another stinker. Happily will be the messenger.
I will break into his house through his chimney. And I will give it to him standing over his bed with a mask on. I will give him a handful of coal.
Yes, I'm filling his stocking with iPhones that play interceptions he's thrown on loop without any ability to use any other applications.
That'd be sad.
The final game that we were going to touch on was the Bills and Steelers game. And I went into this with full understanding that it was going to be the most boring, dreadful, ugly football game that we've watched all season. And it was everything and more. It was just that. People are, who I'm watching with, and, my friends are all like, this game sucks. I don't want to watch it. It's like, you turned it on. You should have known what was going on.
I had fun. Genuinely. I didn't even watch Red Zone. I only turned on that game while I was putting up, some Christmas decorations. And every time I looked up, it was Cam Hayward be like, you a bitch. Like every single time I don't even know what Josh Allen did. But like 100-year-old Cam Hayward is just screaming at him and then getting trucked. And then like it felt like a very even game up until that really turned on. And then Josh Allen started playing well and running all over them. Mm-hmm. And then it was just bittersweet. It was so sweet. Aaron Rodgers got smashed into the ground by Joey Bosa. It might have been close in score for a while, but like the Bills had all of the good moments in that game. The Steelers had like 1 or 2 early, and then it was just Bills all the way from there. Like James Cook ran all over them. Josh Allen ran all over them. They embarrassed everybody on the ground. It was fun to watch.
It was, and the Bills broke the record for most total rushing yards and accuracy it was built. That was how bad the beatdown was on the ground. And it was shocking, like, the way it picked up for them, because I thought eventually the Steelers were going to figure it out and, force Josh Allen to drop back, because I'm watching this game and I'm like, yeah, these tackles are false starting left and right because they're horrified. And our quote unquote wide receiver one, Khalil Shakir, is being shadowed by Joey fucking Porter. So he's not seeing the light of day in this game. I'm like, well, eventually they're going to have to pass and this is going to be a problem, right? But it never was. And I know it's unpopular for Bills fans nowadays to give Joe Brady credit, but he was the one that remained consistent. It was aggravating at times to see just run, because after the third one, the Steelers would finally drop him for a loss, but that didn't deter Brady, and it ultimately won the Bills the game. And the way he mixed in the Josh runs too was the cherry on top to push the offense into momentum. So credit to
and well, that's the thing too, is when your offensive line struggles, most offensive linemen in the NFL can run block. They're big, they're athletic. They can get a move on. Pass pro is significantly more technical and it's much harder. You're putting these guys that don't play a lot on an island, and it's scary. So if you're going to put yourself in a position to win, like, work around your not only your strength but your weakest link too. Don't make it harder on your weakest link and your offensive line that's struggling. Make it easier for them. Run the ball. They love that shit. That's why they're linemen. They hate pass pro.
Mm-hmm.
Let them punish people. It's fun. And it started looking like the Bills started having fun down the stretch. Josh Allen started to look like he was having his first fun in a little while with how he was running that football. And it was a really good win, a good gritty win against a good team.
I think if the Bills somehow turn it around and all of a sudden they're scoring 30 points per game again and they look like the team we were expecting them to look like, it's going to be because of this game. Like, Cam Hayward pissed him off. Patrick Queen pissed him off. I don't know what they said.
Karma.
I don't know what they were doing, but I'm standing here thinking to myself, with how Cam Hayward carried himself this offseason, and then watching this game, I'm like, does anyone really like Cam Hayward? And then I thought to myself, well, he is usually a Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist.
Every year.
Still, does anyone actually like him? I don't know.
He does charity, but they don't like him. Yeah. That's like everybody that went to my church. Yeah, like they donate. They pass. They probably put more in that basket than me, but they suck. Like, they suck outside of that. That's kind of how Cam Hayward is. It's like, he might be a great guy for all I know, but on the field, he's just annoying everybody.
Yes,
he probably is a super nice, genuine guy, but just when it came to that game specifically, God, he was pissing me off.
Yes,
like, just for how unnecessarily he was just yelling at Josh Allen. Like, how often do quarterbacks and D tackles have real beef? But also, how often does that quarterback truck that D tackle into the end zone? Like, at the same time, like, it was really good karma.
It was. It was one of those games where I was just happy to win because you could see the chippiness of it, obviously, and you could tell how amped Josh was. Like, Hayward's getting in his face, and Josh doesn't even respond. He just starts yelling. Like, there's a clip of Josh just straight screaming in Cam Hayward's face, who's like pressing his face mask up against Josh, and he stands there for 1 second, and then he just goes, yeah! Like, he just starts belting out. And like, it's just the fattest rage bait ever, but
it's so funny.
It's hilarious. I loved it. There's always one game a year like that where it's just, you can see Josh like get more animated because of the chippiness of it, and that was that.
Well, good for them, because that was a really good game to end my night on. Because I didn't watch the end of the Broncos and Commanders game, but as you have to understand, as good of a game as it might have been, I don't care about either of those teams. God, they're boring.
You would be probably shocked to hear that this game is currently in overtime.
Really?
27-20. The Broncos just scored.
And I don't care at all, actually. Like, I don't care. I don't care to watch Marcus Mariota, Jeremy McNichols, and Zach Ertz work their way down the field against Bo Nix, Jaleel McLaughlin, and freaking Adam Troutman. I honestly do not care.
Where did these numbers... Was this game not like 3-0 for the entire first half?
Yeah, kind of.
I could have sworn it was. Now it's 27-20. Bo Nix has 320 passing yards and a touchdown and a pick. And Mariota has 233 and a touchdown and a pick. Where did these numbers come from? Zach Ertz has 100 yards. Who is Yankoff?
You don't know Colson Yankoff?
Stop.
What?
Know this guy?
Everyone knows Colson Yankoff.
Everyone. And who's Colson Yankoff?
He's like it's like a H-back tight end kind of player.
How is this not going to be the butt end to my jokes for the next 3 days?
What? Hey, Yankoff.
Yes. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think he's like a converted quarterback.
Ooh. Wow. They're driving. They're going to win this game.
Are they on the move?
Mariota just threw a dart to Terry for
Nice.
pass midfield. No way. No way. Mariota drives the field and beats this Denver defense in overtime. That will be gross.
And then it won't matter because they're not going to make the playoffs, and Denver still will no matter what. So
yeah, right. It's like
useless game at this point in the season. Like, if this was like the opening game, like on like the one on like week 1, I would be so locked into every snap. But right now, after how much football we've seen this year, I honestly like unless either of these games have playoff implications, I am just so tired.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Like this is one of those games where I'm like, really, dude, like. Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted to watch it early to begin with.
Sunday night, really?
Yeah, right.
I'll skip. Next.
Well, that will wrap up our recap of Week 13. If you guys have any thoughts, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comments, but you can directly bring them to us through the Discord, which are linked in the description as well. But if you enjoyed, I hope you had a happy holiday, and we will see you in episode 79.